Jayson Tatum does not deserve all the hate, and I'm here to explain why. Even though it should be pretty obvious at this point. Over the past few weeks, Jayson Tatum has been getting a ridiculous amount of hate, and I've been seeing it all over social media, and it really doesn't make sense to me because Jayson Tatum, in his entire career, the Celtics have been a playoff team. He started with Kyrie as his main star, and he had Al Horford, and Jaylen Brown was still young, but still, they had a great team. Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart, they had a good team. And they made the Eastern Conference Finals in his rookie year, brought LeBron to 7 games, and it was great. And people looked at the future and thought, this team's going to be dangerous. And for the past, it's been at least maybe 7 years now, Jayson Tatum, every single year, has brought this team into the playoffs and lost. They made it to the finals in 2022. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals for like 3 years in a row, maybe even 4 years in a row now, because they went 2020, they missed in 2021, but then 2022, 23, and 24. So they made it, they've had a good amount of success in the early stages of the playoffs. But then when they get onto the later parts, they don't win. They've lost to teams like the Heat, the Bucks, the Warriors. They've lost games and games and games. And Jayson Tatum is getting a lot of hate this year especially. And this year, the Celtics team is a bit different from the past years. They used to have Kyrie back then, they had Kemba Walker, but then it was just Tatum and Brown when they made it to the finals. And they lost. Last year, they lost to the Heat. And now, the offseason, they brought in Drew Holiday, they brought in Kristaps Porzingis, and they have this, as some people would call it, super team. Is it really a super team? I mean, that's debatable. They do have 3 all-star caliber, well, 2, they have a superstar, a star, and 2 at least near all-star caliber players. So you could call it a super team, I guess, but is it, I mean, it's just a really good team in my opinion. And then you even look at Derek White, who's been amazing. But yeah, it's just a really good team in my opinion. I wouldn't call it a super team, but it's a really, really good team. But that's besides the point. You bring this team in, they dominate all season, they end up as the 1 seed, like undebatably the best team in the East. They go pretty easily through the first 2 rounds. Now they come here to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they face the Pacers, who have fought hard to get here. They beat the Bucks, who, even though they were injured, they still were a pretty good team with Dame there a few games. They had Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez. They beat them. They beat the Knicks, which was a really hard-fought series, where Jalen Brunson was there, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, all those guys were fighting, and they fought their hardest, but the Pacers took it. And now they come here to the Eastern Conference Finals against this Boston Celtics super team that has coasted through the first 2 rounds, and they're down 3-0. And of course, this series could have been a lot different, where the Pacers were super close to winning that game 1. If they fouled in those last few seconds, we might be having a whole different conversation right now. But the Celtics won, and they're up 3-0. And Jayson Tatum is getting the hate. Now, there's a few reasons why Jayson Tatum is getting the hate. Of course, one of them is being that he's part of the super team. And people are going to hate people that are on super teams. They're going to be like, oh, they're coasting through the finals again. They're super easily. It's like a Mickey Mouse ring, Mickey Mouse, all that stuff. And from that standpoint, what do you expect them to do, really? Because they made good trades. The management made good trades. They built a good team. They played amazing in the regular season, got the 1 seed, played in the next 2 rounds, and they're here. They're winning, they're doing good, and they made them here themselves by making good trades, playing good defense. They deserve to be where they are right now. I don't know what argument there could be for not, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me how people could say Mickey Mouse ring. I mean, they didn't even win a ring, or not, at least not yet. But they played their hardest, they played their best, they made it here, they deserved it, and they made the right trades to make it here. even if they're a super team, they just traded for Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis to make the team better. And I mean, of course, if you look at it from that standpoint, you could see back when Kevin Durant was getting all the hate, you could see it's the same way. But this isn't the same thing as the Kevin Durant thing, because Kevin Durant, well, actually, is it the same? No, it's not the same. It's not the same, because Kevin Durant lost to the Warriors and joined the Warriors, and that's why he got a lot of the hate. Because he said, if you can't beat him, join him. Well, in this situation, Drew Holiday and Kristaps, well, Drew Holiday was on a winning team, but then the Bucks traded him to get Dame, and then the Celtics, when the Blazers had Drew and were like, we don't really want him, Celtics swooped in and took him. That's not exactly the same situation as the Kevin Durant situation, or even as a LeBron situation, because LeBron was also joining a team in free agency. This was stars being traded, and not even stars in the same level as LeBron, but still stars. And when it's trades, obviously it's different, because LeBron chose to go to Miami. KD chose to go to the Warriors. But in this situation, Drew wanted to stay on the Bucks. He thought he would be a Buck for the rest of his life. And here we are, he's wearing a different, slightly lighter green jersey. So, from that standpoint, it's not the exact same as those super teams we saw in the past. Even if it is a super team, I keep using this because I don't know if it's exactly a super team, but even if it is a super team, it's not exactly formed the same way. They built their way here. They built a good team, and now they're here, and they deserve it. And the same with Kristaps, he was on a bad team. They traded for him. I don't know what else. I don't know what else I have to say. It's just sometimes, in this case, even if it is a super team, it's not the same way. It's not the same. You can't give them the same hate that you gave super teams in the past, really, because super teams in the past, it was the players making those decisions to form teams, to team up and be like, oh, we're going to run the league, we're going to do all this. Like even Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. You could say that one is a lot different because Beal wanted to be out of Washington. KD wanted to go to the Suns and join that, and they made their own super team, even though it's not a super team. But like the big three, you could say the same thing with the Nets, with James Harden, Kyrie, and KD, where James Harden forced his way out of Houston, and Kyrie and KD teamed up for free agency. You can see all that stuff. But in this situation, I see it a lot differently, because the Celtics made the right trades. The management made the right trades to get this team better, to get them to where they are. And now here they are winning because of the right decisions that they made. So it's kind of like if you wanted to call, if the Thunder traded for a guy like, let me give just a random example. Who's a guy on a bad team? Let's say the Thunder traded for DeMar DeRozan, and all of a sudden they made it to the Western Conference Finals. Are the Thunder a super team? They have Shea, who's an MVP candidate, like Tatum. kind of. But you get the point. Superstar. Then you have J-Dub, who's like a really good player, like Jaylen Brown, who was also built there. You have DeMar, who's traded for to help build the team. You also have Chet there, who's also really good. Is that a super team if they traded for DeMar DeRozan? I don't think so. So that's why I don't really get the same super team vibe I got from those other teams in the 2010s, because the Celtics aren't really a super team. They're just a really well-built team. They don't deserve that same negative connotation given to those teams in the past. Like the Warriors. When the Warriors ran through the West, I could see the hate that was given to them because KD joined them and made it unfair for other teams. And it was a decision made by KD himself. If you want to blame the Boston Celtics management for building too good of a team, I mean, I guess, but it's not the same attitude as the Warriors had when they were at their best. That was one of my points. But my other point is how Tatum keeps getting disrespected and I don't understand it, because Tatum will drop 30, like his game the other day, 36 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. He'll have a game like that and nobody will mention it. Nobody will talk about it. And then the next day he'll have a game that's like 16 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, maybe like let's say 6 for 20 from the field just for extra good measure. And everybody's like, Tatum's a fraud. Tatum's getting carried by his super team. Tatum's on his super team for the past 8 years and he's still not winning. He's a fraud. He's gonna lose. Tatum, we hate Tatum. I don't understand it, because Jayson Tatum has proved himself, at least to me, and I'm sure to many other people out there. He is a top 10, not even maybe even top 10, like top 8 player in the league right now. And still, people are disrespecting him time after time after time. And I don't understand it, because he's proved he can do this. He had like three 30-plus games in a row. He did amazing in because who did they face in the first round? They faced Miami. He did solid in the Miami series. He did amazing in the Cleveland series. And now here he is against the Pacers, having these great games, cooking, and still people are hating him. And of course, you can see as people just want to hate on the team that's at the top. They want to root for the underdog. The underdog, I guess, being Luka or Ant. But Tatum deserves this, man. Tatum deserves to be where he is right now. And the Celtics deserve to be where they are right now. They just played amazing. And even then, people have been saying that Tatum's going on a cakewalk through the East. And of course, you can see from that perspective with the Heat, because they're the 8th seed, they didn't have Jimmy Butler. That one I understand. But then you go against the Cavs, well, they didn't have Donovan Mitchell for the last game. Okay, I'll give you that. They didn't have Jared Allen and they didn't have Donovan Mitchell. But even then, the Celtics didn't have Kristaps. And even if you take all those points and even it out and say, oh no, well, Tatum still had the easier run. The Celtics played the team, I heard Kenny say this, the Celtics played the team that was put in front of them. What else do you want them to do? Do you want them to kick Drew Holiday in the knee and say you can't play for 5 games so we can get a tougher schedule? What do you want them to do, realistically? Because they played the team that was in front of them. They played their best. They won both of those series in 5 games. And now they're here, up 3-0. And they deserve it. That's all I'm here to say. They deserve it. That's all I'm here to say. I just had the inspiration to make this video this morning. And I'm glad I made it. It was needed, because the amount of Tatum hate that I've been seeing on the internet has been ridiculous. Give Jayson Tatum his flowers. He deserves to be here, and when he makes the finals, because if the Pacers come back down 3-0, I'll shut up. But when he makes the finals, or at least if he makes the finals, I'll just say that not to jinx him. I want to see if he can win, because we're going to get a new NBA champion this year. And I'm excited to see who it is. If it's Jayson Tatum, absolutely, I'm all for it. If it's Luka or Ant, even if it's Tyrese Haliburton, I'm all for it. I'm just happy that we get to see a new NBA champion this year. So, that's about all I have to say. It's going to be fun. Great finals matchup. Whoever the Celtics end up facing, or the Pacers, if they pull off a miracle. I mean, Tyrese is injured, but good luck. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate y'all. I'm out.